Breaking news. Sky F1 journalist Martin Brundle has once again turned his focus to the ongoing feud between Max Verstappen and George Russell, going so far as to label Verstappen a cunning driver who manipulates situations to appear as the victim on track. Meanwhile, Fernando Alonso has publicly lashed out at Aston Martin, calling their car the worst of the century. FIA has handed Lewis Hamilton a surprising penalty following an incident with McLaren's Lando Norris. Welcome to F1 Real Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates. The build-up to the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix has been dominated by an escalating feud between four-time world champion Max Verstappen and Mercedes' George Russell. What began as a disagreement during Qatar's qualifying session has spiraled into a full-blown war of words, threatening to overshadow the final race of the season. At the heart of the conflict lies a Q3 incident in Qatar, where Russell accused Verstappen of impeding his preparation lap by moving too slowly. The stewards sided with Russell, handing Verstappen a one-place grid penalty that relegated him to P2 and elevated Russell to pole. Verstappen, however, didn't hold back, accusing Russell of lying to the stewards to ensure the penalty was applied. The tension escalated dramatically in the aftermath. Reports of a heated exchange in the stewards' room were followed by a frosty confrontation during the driver's parade. Verstappen's frustration boiled over, branding Russell a bully and a loser. Russell fired back by referencing the controversial 2021 Abu Dhabi title decider, adding fuel to an already raging fire. But the most explosive claim came from Russell, who alleged that Verstappen threatened to deliberately cause a crash, reportedly saying he would put me on my fucking head in the wall. Verstappen vehemently denies making such a statement, but the allegations have only intensified the scrutiny surrounding their rivalry. Former F1 driver and Sky F1 pundit Martin Brundle has provided his perspective on the unfolding drama. In his view, Verstappen has perfected a strategy both on and off the track to unsettle his rivals and maintain his competitive edge. Our audience will decide who they take at face value. Maybe they'll take both at face value. Max has ramped up the aggression on the track and ramped up playing the victim off the track, and it's working. He's got everybody on the run. The media, other teams, and particularly other drivers. Brundle went on to highlight Verstappen's mastery of wheel-to-wheel combat and his deep understanding of the rulebook. Every time he does it, it plays out for him. He knows exactly how far he can push it, and that's what makes him so formidable. Ex-IndyCar and NASCAR driver Danica Patrick added her voice to the conversation, expressing skepticism about fully trusting either driver's account of events. However, she emphasized that if there was indeed a threat to deliberately crash, it would cross a critical ethical line. There's a difference between being aggressive and being a bully. On the track, Max has always been aggressive, and I don't think you're going to change that. It's his style, and it's part of what makes him such a successful driver. But when it comes to off-track behavior, if accusations of bullying or threats are true, that's completely unnecessary and unacceptable. Patrick also weighed in on the original incident in Qatar, siding with Russell on the matter. George was online, trying to execute the best lap possible, following his delta and managing his temperatures. Max being online and moving slowly was ultimately his fault. The only mitigating factor could have been better communication from the team about track positioning. With tensions reaching a boiling point, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix promises to be a spectacle not just for its racing, but for the simmering drama between Verstappen and Russell. The fallout from this feud could have lasting repercussions, not only for the two drivers, but for their teams and the broader paddock. Meanwhile, it has been a challenging season for Fernando Alonso and the Aston Martin team, which, rather than edging closer to the front of the F1 grid, has found itself slipping back into the midfield pack. Alonso has managed to score points just once in his last 5 races, a stark contrast to the early season promise the team showed. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix marks the final round of the 2024 F1 campaign, and it did not get off to an ideal start for the two-time world champion. Alonso finished the opening FP1 session in P11, to places behind Aston Martin reserve driver Felipe Drugovich, who had taken over from Lance Stroll for the session. Frustrated, Alonso didn't hold back his feelings over team radio. Worst car ever and worst traffic preparation ever. Next time, I do my outlap myself. Alonso, the most experienced driver on the grid, is widely regarded as one of the sport's all-time greats. However, despite his immense talent and near misses with Ferrari earlier in his career, he has not added to his title tally since back-to-back championships with Renault in 2005 and 2006. Outbursts like this one are reminiscent of Alonso's infamous GP-to-engine remark during his McLaren Honda days. Reflecting on his career, Alonso has admitted that he has rarely had the best car at his disposal. He claims that the only time he drove the best car in a racing category was not in Formula One, but during his stint with the title-winning Toyota team in the World Endurance Championship. When asked by the media how he stays motivated despite the struggles with the AMR24, Alonso responded, "I mean, it was not difficult to keep motivated because every 2 weeks, you have a chance to do a little bit better than the previous weekend. This calendar doesn't allow you to rest or have time to think. You are continually racing." So yeah, it was not difficult to get motivation. Alonso continued, "In a way, I'm used to not having the best car. I think I've had the best car only once in 25 years of racing, with Toyota and WEC. So I'm always motivated." As Alonso and Aston Martin look to close out a tough season, the focus will be on making strides over the winter to return stronger in 2025. For now though, the team faces the daunting challenge of ending the year on a high note amid a fiercely competitive midfield battle. Meanwhile, during the opening practice session at the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton's final race weekend as a Mercedes driver, Lando Norris found himself slamming on the brakes in his McLaren as he encountered a slow-moving Hamilton at the final turn. The incident was noted as a potential case of impeding, prompting an investigation by the stewards. However, after analyzing the situation, the stewards ruled it a misunderstanding rather than deliberate impeding, deciding against further action. Their official verdict read, "The stewards heard from the driver of car 44, the driver of car 4, team representatives, and reviewed video, team radio, and in-car video evidence. The driver of car 44 was driving slowly on the left side of the track approaching turn 16, this being the racing line. At the same time, another car was entering the pit lane and therefore occupied the right side of the track. Car 4 was closing in at high speed and was impacted by car 44 sitting on the racing line into turn 16 to prepare his next lap. However, the inside line would have been open, and there was space for car 4 to overtake on the inside. The driver of car 4 chose not to move to the inside as he was not sure if car 44 would close the gap to start a flying lap. The stewards conclude that the incident was kind of a misunderstanding between the drivers involved, but does not meet the threshold of being considered as an unnecessary impeding in free practice. This moment of tension comes during a bittersweet weekend for Hamilton, who will participate in farewell activities with Mercedes following the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Afterward, he will embark on a new chapter in his illustrious F1 career as a Ferrari driver in 2025.